Today is going to be time to add a snorkel system to the rear differential and the electric locker. They have breathers under there, but they're pretty much right around the axle point. If you go to any really deeper water, there's a good chance that if it's hot inside the differential, for example, the air is going to expand. If you go into a deep puddle, that's going to immediately cool it, causing it to want to suck air in as the air contracts inside due to the cold temperature. Now just rest assured that the transmission, automatic transmission and transfer case vent lines are actually up in the engine compartment, but Toyota did not install anything to make up for deep water in the rear differential and the electric locker. And that would be, again, this is because of the automatic transmission. So what you have to do is you have to order this little part here. I think that cost me $9.95, and all it is, it kind of makes me mad, it's just an empty tube, but it takes the place of the little breather that's on the differential so that you can get this 1/4 inch inside diameter fuel line and go through a T and then bring the actual other end of this to a higher point. Some people run it all the way up to the engine compartment, which is fine. Another guy actually ran it into where you do the fuel fill. There's a little vent tube, a vent hole, and he put it in there. However, if you do that, of course, then you're not going to have a place for any spilled fuel to go ahead and vent down into the vehicle. You could put another hole there. You could leave it in if you want to. I just don't like it. So I'll show you eventually where I'm going to actually run mine. You're going to need some sort of hose clamps. I like to use these more so than the banded ones. I already had these in stock and stuff in my garage, so I'll be using some of those. I only need 3 total really to do this. Actually make that 4 total for this line here. So I'll show you what I have in mind to run the other end of this up and away from any possible water, what I'm going to basically do. Basically in the rear of the FJ, there's this little panel here. Some of you guys have a blank panel. If you have the inverter, you'll see the 400 watt there. The top 2 I added, cigarette lighter, USB port. There's the wires for it there. And again, that's actually on another video. So what I basically intend to do is right there's a grommet. You can access that from underneath. And I'm going to pull my fuel line up into there and actually use the fitting that's on the differential now. It's got a rudimentary type of check valve. It's going to be sticking up. That'll give me some fresh air for it to vent into and vent out of. And it's up here above any water lines. Nothing to worry about there. So that's basically what I'm going to do. I've seen some guys use a plastic or PVC pipe, which is all fine. I opted for the fuel line here because it's pretty much impervious to road debris, any types of tar, oil, gasoline, things like that. It's got quite a few layers in it, and it's basically built for longevity. That's the reason why I'm using this. The only drawback to this, it's about $2 a foot. Some guy said, oh, I went to O'Reilly and it was 85 cents. Baloney, $2.20 a foot. I bought 40 feet for $38 after tax at AutoZone. Amazon has it, but they're a little over $2 a foot also. And all they had for the longest length was 15 feet. I grabbed 20 to get myself plenty, depending on where I want to run this. Although I did find out a shorter way, so I'll have some left over, which is fine. For me, I can always use some extra fuel line. So that's what I have in mind. So let me see if I can get you underneath the vehicle, and we can start talking about bringing this up through that grommet inside the inner back of the wheel well area, and then underneath, and we can get this run and get this all set up. And right there is the E-locker line, and then of course we got the differential. There's the differential breather there. So I'm going to be connecting these 2 together via a T-fitting and then running the pipe probably along here on the opposite side, so it's away from the exhaust pipe, and then up into that grommet there. And then of course between the differential and here, I can make sure I put a nice loop for expansion. As the suspension moves up and down, you don't want it tight, you want to have some sort of give. So that's what I have in mind. So I need to go ahead and take this out now. That's the fitting I'm going to use at the end of the hose once it's up inside the vehicle. And like I said, it's kind of a rudimentary check valve. It won't really do that good of a job preventing water from sinking its way back in. Again, if your differential is warm and you hit a nice cold patch of water, you don't want to suck water into the differential. Came out of right there. Before you remove this, it's a good idea to take a rag or paper towel, give it a good wipe, make sure there's no grease or grime that can make its way down into the differential. So again, I'm just going to put this extension in its place and get that tied in. Okay, it is a tapered thread, tapered hole, but I still put a little bit of thread locker, actually thread putty on there to go ahead and add an extra seal. While I had that off, I put a little bit of an additive to the rear differential fluid. Nipple there, that's basically what I'm going to come off of with the fuel line. Make a nice little loop, come up here and join with this here. Again, this is the electric locker. Run along and right up into there. Alright, that's where the fuel line vent hose is coming out of. What I did is I put a wooden dowel in the end, taped it up, and then sprayed it with a little bit of Windex that has a little bit of wax in it. Pulled it on through, and I'll get what I need to go ahead and get taken care of along this beam here to pick up this pipe, and then that fitting there, and then I'll go ahead and tidy it up with some tie wraps, and that should be done. Okay, so far I came out of that grommet. I decided to go ahead and run it along the floor or the back of the FJ, far enough away from the tailpipe to be able to get a tie wrap in here. Brought it up and over on a solid pipe here, so we'll go ahead and tie wrap it. I need to get it in this area here where I need to install the T between here. This is the electronic locker breather, again the vent line, and then where is it? There it is, right there. So almost done. Again, it's not a hard job. It's taken longer to go ahead and film this than it is to actually do it. Is kind of what I came up with. I stuck this dowel in, wrapped it up good with tape, made it a point, sprayed it with Windex, and then pushed right through that grommet, no problem. Just going to run that last line from this nipple here with a curl up and over and into the other side of this T. Here's the T fitting here. And again, this is for the air locker. I can go ahead and move this up and down. Later on, I'll hit a couple tie wraps holding this and the other side over here. And I took this line up into the wheel well, snaked it all the way under there, tie wrapped it, brought it around here, and then there, and then up into that grommet. Alright, and here's what was in the differential. I'm basically going to put this in here, and then this is going to be tied up into the wheel well area behind here, and I can put this all back together. That'll be high enough above water, it'll be safe and protected, yet it's out of the way, and it'll look more professional this way. It's all buttoned up, the vent line is up inside there, away from any chance of water, and just need to go ahead and finish underneath. Alright, so we came out the differential, that new nipple there. I used a little bit of armor here to go ahead and give a little bit of protection against these. Tie wrapped everything up. For the loop, I used this one that's built into this item here. That is plenty for travel for the differential, so I won't put any strain on any of this. Came over the back of here, went into the T connector here. Same with here. Came all the way around, everything's tie wrapped up. Again, it's shiny. Eventually it'll get a little bit dirty here, so this will look more original than it does now. Everything's all nice and shiny, kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But at least the T is done. Everything is supported, and we picked up the electric locker. We picked up the differential, and we vented it up into the vehicle itself. So that's it in a nutshell. There's plenty of ways you can do it. This is just one of the ways that I kind of thought would be pretty nice and sort of look, well, semi-factory anyway. Alright, to get rid of the shininess on some of the new parts, a little vehicle undercoating, which I always have on hand. Touch that up, and up here give some corrosion protection and rust protection with some of the metal. Same time, it tones it down a bit so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. And that's it. We are all complete now with the snorkel system for the differential, the electric locker, vented up inside the cab. Altogether, if you're not messing around with the camera, Takes about an hour. Alright, this is the undercoating I used, and it's got a build-up property to it, so if you coach, you can actually build up and hide, let's say, an imperfection. I like to use it under there for all the stuff that it gives you: corrosion resistance, rubberized, paintable, quick dry, anything to give it that new look underneath, and where the new shiny parts don't stick out like a sore thumb. Anyway, that's some of the stuff I keep. The other one is usually the truck bed coating. That's another one I like to have on hand. So that'll just about do it. But now I think I'm done with the mods for a while. Now that was the last one, the snorkel. Down here in Florida, we do get a lot of heavy rain. Every now and then you get some areas that flood. I just don't want to have to worry about going through there and cooling off the differential and sucking in water. So now I don't have to worry about it. The vent's up inside the vehicle itself. Again, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. That was just one option. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and we'll talk to you again real soon on another tank vid. If you enjoyed this, please go ahead and hit the like button and maybe consider subscribing.